they said, you know, he's killed reporters. And I don't like that. I'm totally against that. By the way, I hate some of these people, but I'd never kill them. I hate them. No, I think, no, these people, honestly, I'll be honest. I would never kill them. I would never do that. Let's see. No, I wouldn't. I would never kill them. Let's see. No, I wouldn't. I would never kill him. Let's see.
Good morning! Uncle Lou here. You know, I usually try to wait till the off season to start making these types of videos, because during the football season it's usually the people watching me are wanting to see football videos. And a lot of you guys, you know, cry and get your feelings hurt when I make these types of videos. So I try to keep it in the off season so that if you don't want to see these types of videos, you don't have to watch them without worrying about missing any football videos. But I guess because there's a presidential election going on, or at least a primary election going on right now, I just can't hold it off anymore. And a few people have made some political videos over the last couple of months, primarily talking about Donald Trump or ISIS. First of all, let me just say this about Donald Trump. I do like certain things about Donald Trump. Primarily, I like the fact that I think he actually believes what he says, which is an improvement over every other politician, or 99% of the politicians out there. In other words, I don't think Donald Trump is just saying what he thinks people wants to hear. I don't believe that for a minute. I think if Donald Trump says something, he 100% believes it. So, I mean, you have to give him credit for that. It's refreshing. You know, a lot of these politicians are so rehearsed and, you know, almost look like robots with the answers that they give, trying to straddle the fence on these issues and not piss off, you know, people on either side of an issue by giving, you know, gray area, wishy-washy answers. Donald Trump straight up comes out and tells you what he thinks. Now, whether you agree with what he says or not, that's not the point that I'm trying to make here, because I don't agree with a lot of what he says either. But you have to give him credit for at least, you know, being probably the most real politician we've seen. And I think that's because he's not a politician. He's not a lifelong politician, which is another thing I like about Donald Trump. I'm sick and tired of these people who spend 30, 40, 50 years of their life as politicians. I don't believe it was ever intended to be that way, but it's turned into that for whatever reason. But, you know, do I think Donald Trump has a chance to become president of the United States? No, I don't. And there's a couple of different reasons for that. Number one, it's already been decided who's going to be the next president. I mean, come on. I know a lot of you people like to think that, you know, you matter, and that you're somehow important to the election process, and that your vote counts and things like that. It's simply not true. There's a very small group of people who decide these things in advance. It doesn't matter who you like or how you vote. It's already been decided who the next president is going to be, and I don't think that person is Donald Trump. You know, as far as who I'm going to vote for, I haven't made up my mind yet. I do vote, even though I know it's pointless for the reason I've already named. There's also another reason. Even if you do believe that the election process is real and counts, which it's not and it doesn't, I live in Georgia. Georgia is going Republican. I mean, there's about 40 states where it doesn't matter, even if you think the election is real. There's about 40 states where it doesn't matter what you vote. If you live in Georgia, all of Georgia's delegates are going to the Republican nominee, period. If you live in California, all your delegates are going to the Democratic nominee, period. And there's about 40 states that fit that mold. So, you know, I'm not telling you not to go out and vote. Like I said, I vote too. You know, but don't get it twisted. Your vote doesn't matter. These things are decided in advance by several groups of people. I've named them before. I'll name them again if you know, in case you haven't heard. But, you know, the Masons, the Bilderbergs, you know, the Illuminati, all these people, you know, whose goal is this one world government, the new world order. You know, this stuff is, you know, this stuff is preordained in advance. These people have their little meetings 2 or 3 times a year in different parts of the world, and they decide who's going to lead what country during what periods of time and things like that. So, you know, that just is what it is. But I love watching Donald Trump. I can't lie. He is by far the most entertaining candidate I've seen since Ross Perot, who was another one that was kind of out there with some of the things he would say in his little board and his graphs and charts that he used and all that. If some of you guys are my age or older, you might remember him. But you know, he is entertaining, and just look at the debate numbers. I mean, the Republican debate numbers are through the roof. I mean, 3 or 4 times as many people are watching the Republican debates as are watching the Democratic debates, and that's for one reason: Donald Trump. It's like driving by a car accident. You know it's bad. You know you don't really want to see, but you can't help but slow down and take a look. And it's the same kind of thing with Donald Trump. But do I think he'll win? No. The Republicans aren't going to let that happen, I don't think. It is funny, though, to watch the Republican establishment sort of tiptoe around Donald Trump like they're scared of him. You know, the threat of Donald Trump leaving the Republican Party and running as an independent. Again, if you believe in the election process, if Donald Trump leaves the Republican Party and runs as an independent, then it's over. The Democrats win, and it won't even be close, because you've got a certain percentage of the population, I would say between 20 to 25% of the population, that's going to vote for Donald Trump, whether he runs as a Republican or as an independent. So if you believe that the election process matters and you take that 20 or 25% away from whatever the eventual Republican nominee would be, then, you know, they stand no chance to defeat Hillary Clinton. But yeah, Donald Trump, although entertaining, come on, people. It's not going to happen. You know. But anyway, I'm going to sit back and enjoy the show for the next 11 months or so leading up to the election in November. You know, it does make for good TV. Donald Trump, if nothing else, is an entertainer. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Good morning.